The retirement problem in the United States and abroad is absolutely atrocious. Simply, so many people do not have enough money to actually retire. When we look at the retirement savings that people have around the world, we first have to look and say, well, what age are people actually retiring? And so we've got a chart here that shows in the United States, the official retirement age is 67 years old, but the average retirement age is actually 68 years old. If we then look in the UK, it's 65 is official, 64 and a half is the average. If we then go all the way down to Japan, 62 is the official retirement age, but 69, almost 70 years old is the average retirement age. If we go ahead and we look back in America at the percent of Americans who have no retirement savings, 42% of 18 to 29-year-olds have no retirement savings. They're young. They haven't started yet. So they've got to get started. But if you go ahead and you look at those over 60 years old, 1 out of every 10 Americans have nothing saved. Nothing. Not enough, but nothing saved. 1 out of 10. If you go ahead and you look at 45 to 59-year-olds, almost 1 out of every 5 Americans, 17%, do not have a single dollar saved for retirement. And then if you look from 30 to 44, 1 out of every 4 Americans has $0 saved for retirement. Again, it's not saying that they don't have enough saved. It's that they have saved $0. Obviously, not very good. If we go ahead and we look at the median retirement savings for Americans aged 55 to 64, the numbers, depending on who you ask, vary a little bit, but it's still not good. If you ask the Center for Retirement Research in 2020, they said that the median retirement savings for Americans between ages 55 to 64 is $120,000 across their 401k and IRA. If you look at the median retirement savings by age, according to the Transamerica Center for Retirement Services or Studies, then you can see that that median retirement savings is still very low. Americans in their 60s, $172,000. Americans in their 50s, $117,000. If you go all the way down to Americans in their 20s, it's $16,000. Let's go to Americans in their 60s, $172,000. If you simply were going to live on $45,000 a year, which for most people is much less than in their working years, $45,000 a year means that if you retire at the age of 62, you won't make it till your 70th birthday without running out of money. That's how bad the situation is. And so most people do not have enough money saved to actually retire. They become more and more dependent on Social Security and other types of government support. What we know, though, is that those services already believe that they are going to run out of money in the next 10 to 15 years. And so if you're a young person, you're unlikely to have very big savings in your retirement. You haven't had a ton of time to make money, spend less than you make, put some in your retirement savings, and then grow that money. But what we know is that the wealthiest Americans, they have figured it out. You are financially incentivized to put money in your retirement accounts, to grow that money. And so that when you do decide to stop working, when you decide to enjoy life and live and do whatever you want, you will have enough money there to live for as long as you possibly can. You will not be worried about money. You will not be worried about whether the government actually has enough money in those social services to pay you to live. And so when we look at the retirement accounts by percentile of net worth, what we can see is this mean retirement account in thousands. Well, of course, the bottom quartile, they are not doing very well. You literally can't see it on the chart. If you then go and you look at the top decile, the 90 to 100th decile, you can see that they have almost $1 million in retirement for whatever comes their way. And so ultimately the gap between the 75th to 90th quartile or percentile to the 90th to 100 is massive. There's a difference of between 200,000 or so and almost $1 million. That is the difference between those at the top and everybody else. But it is not something where there's a game is rigged against you or there's some sort of reason why you can't be in the top percentile. If you're a young person, the whole key to this is to start early, be aggressive, and continue to compound as much capital as possible in those retirement accounts. You're incentivized to do it from a tax perspective. And so Rich people understand this better than anybody. The median net worth of households with IRAs was 9 times higher than those that do not have one. So quite literally, the people who have an IRA are 9 times more likely to make money than those without it. Rich people understand that the tax advantages of a retirement account are there for everybody. And so what are those tax advantages and why are the wealthy actually using this? Well, there's different types of tax advantages that you can use. There's different types of IRAs. The main two are a Roth IRA and a traditional IRA. The traditional IRAs allow you to contribute tax deductible assets, so they lower your tax burden today. When you go ahead and you contribute, the government will not tax you on the money that you're contributing into that traditional IRA. A Roth IRA, however, allows you to make contributions after you've paid your taxes. If you make $100 and you pay $35 in taxes, the remaining $65, you may be able to take $5 and put it into the retirement. You are not getting any sort of tax break today, but you will not have to pay taxes when you take the money plus gains out later. So one, you get a tax deduction today and you compound the money and have to pay taxes when you withdraw. The other, you pay your taxes today, you take after-tax dollars, you contribute it into a Roth IRA, and then you can compound that money, and when you take it out, you pay no taxes. I bet I know what you're thinking. The Roth IRA is pretty damn cool. And so in both accounts, you don't pay capital gains tax. If you trade within the account, you can go back and forth between assets with no tax ramifications. And the maximum contribution for most people is about $6,000 annually. And so ultimately what you want to do is you want to max out that contribution. Whatever your contribution maximum amount is, you should put that in every single year. Whatever it takes, get it in there. And then what you should be able to do is think about what can you actually put into your IRA. Well, your IRA can hold all sorts of different things, especially those Roth IRAs. You can do everything from fire trucks and farmland, also private company equity. We've talked about people like Peter Thiel in the past, but you can also put Bitcoin. And for most young people, they do not know this. You can actually put tax advantage dollars into a retirement account, and then you can purchase Bitcoin within the retirement account. You can hold it for very long periods of time. And if you use after-tax dollars, so after I pay my taxes this year, if I take some dollars that I have left over, I put it into my Roth IRA, I then purchase Bitcoin in the Roth IRA, and I hold it for the next 30 years. When I take it out, I will not have to pay taxes on the gains. It's very, very tax efficient way to gain Bitcoin exposure. And so when you think about this, there's a whole bunch of different ways that you can do it. I can tell you what I personally do. I use something called Choice, and I've talked to these guys a million times over there. They do everything from literally farmland and fire trucks to allowing people to do it with Bitcoin. The reason why I use Choice is because they allow you not only to buy the Bitcoin and have it held by a custodian, but also if you want, you can hold the private keys of the Bitcoin in your retirement account. And so they have all kinds of different options. I highly suggest if you do not have a Roth IRA, you should go and you should do it. I literally emailed the guys and I said, hey, how the hell can you guys help people do this? And these are the 3 bullet points they sent back. They allow you to hold Bitcoin and other assets in a retirement account alongside stocks, ETFs, fire trucks, farmland, anything else. There's no annual fee, and the only fees you pay are when you trade, about 1%. And earlier this month, they launched a referral program that pays you and your friends to get your money out of the legacy system in Bitcoin. I don't know how the referral program works. I feel like if I'm talking about them right now, we should be getting a referral, but we're not. So maybe we will have to try to figure that out later. So the whole key to this is if you go and you open a Roth IRA, pay your taxes, take after-tax dollars, invest it in a Roth, then you can buy Bitcoin or other assets. You don't have to buy Bitcoin. You can buy stocks or anything else. And then basically you hold those assets for long periods of time. All of the compounding and capital gains that you get when you take it out, you won't have to pay taxes, which is like one of the greatest arbitrages in the world in terms of being able to actually invest and use the tax code to your advantage.